Cheech here with fly fish food. We have skill builder number 41 for you. We're talking about hoppers. We're going to talk about how to shape a body. We're going to talk about how to make a project hopper leg, and then also a real cool trick on a chubby wing.
Dude, that's a big bro.
Okay, I have a Chubby Chernobyl that's ready to be completed. And I've got the back wing tied in. As you can see, I just tied it in right here with a few wraps. But in order to get this to sit and angle back, you'd have to put a whole bunch of thread wraps in front of it. So what you do instead is you fold this wing over, and it's easiest to use your scissors. See that? So I'm just going to place my scissors down, fold that over, pull your scissors out, and now you have a little loop of this wing that you just go over the top of. Nice and neat like that. And now your wing is going to come off at the proper angle, just like that. All right, so that is how I like to use my scissors to fold a wing on a chubby. Okay, this is one way that I like to put hopper legs on. This is a little bit of work, but the summer that I developed the project hopper, or one of the summers I should say, there were a few times where they really wanted that 90-degree leg going down into the water. So there are a bunch of ways to do this. This is the way that I like to do it, so I'll just show you. So let's see, I've got some 2mm foam. If you get foam that's too thick, it just kind of makes them look goofy. So it is kind of a pain in the butt, and I may screw this up, and if we do, we promise we'll leave it in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut, I don't know, a strip of foam about, I don't know, like this. And let's say that our leg, I'm going to pretend like we're tying giant hoppers. It's going to be about that big. So this is going to be both sides of the leg. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some longer handled or longer bladed scissors and just make an angled cut like this. So as you can see, now I have matched up legs that should taper the same amount. Is that how that works? I don't know, but you can see very slight taper, thick side, thin side. So we'll grab this one. This leg turned out great. That might be a little long, so I'm just going to chop it right there. But let's say that this is the leg that we're going to build, and we'll just show you how to do that. First thing we're going to do is prep a leg, so you can get barred legs. We've showed you how to draw the stripes on rubber legs. There are a bunch of ways to do it. Very common to have a bright colored leg on the back of your hopper. So we're picking red here, and then we're going to do a few things here. What did Cade tell us the shoelace thing is? He said he watched Phineas and Ferb and said that he knew, you know, when you poke your shoelaces through your shoelaces, there's a name for that, and Phineas and Ferb made a song. So in the comments, will you tell us what it is, because we're not freaking 7 years old like Cade, Brigham's brother.
Aglet.
All right. What?
An aglet?
Aglet? That's a baby eagle, isn't it? No. All right, comment at us. Tell us what it is. All right, so I'm going to make one of those onto this rubber leg with resin. So I'm going to squirt out a little bit of resin here. It only takes a little tiny bit, and I'm going to take this rubber leg and just roll it back and forth in that resin, and then kind of move this little piece of foam, and I'm just going to try to get most of the resin off of there. Alright, so I've got that dialed, and I will put some UV on this. Okay, that's ready. The next step is, I really like this Stanfo bodkin because it has a tapered needle. So if you can see this on the table, the thick side is here, the thin side is here, and this is laying on its side. So I want the leg to come out of the bottom of the thin side. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to poke a hole right here. Just like this. And I'm going to push this up into the needle so that we can open up a bit of a hole that we can use to poke that rubber leg through. You don't want to push it up there too fast or too hard. It's just foam. It will break. So I'm going to let that sit for just a second. If you're in a hurry to tie a bunch of project hoppers, this part's a huge pain in the butt because you kind of have to wait a little bit. All right. We're encouraging it. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get this, so you can see this is a rigid resin needle now. I'm going to pull this hopper leg out, and now there's a little hole there, and I can poke this little needle of rubber leg through there, and now I have a nice little threaded leg. Now what you say, what do we do with all this resin now? Watch this. If I just stretch the leg, it comes right off because the rubber leg gets thinner as you stretch it, and it will just come right off in your hand. Nothing, no issues with the rubber itself. All right, so once we have it here, this is the top, I believe. We're just going to tag that with a little bit of super glue, and we're going to cut this off. And that is a very, very durable way to make a leg. So let's say that it's right here. So there's your hopper leg right there. You know, tie that in, 2 of them on the side. I think I like it a lot because the foam is fairly rigid. It will keep it out away from the body, but the leg moves around enough to really give off some awesome movement vibrations in the water. So anyway, that is one way to tie a hopper leg. Okay, I'm going to show you a few ways to make hopper bodies, and this goes for hoppers, stoneflies, any type of body. And in this exercise, we're going to use 6mm cross-link foam. So these techniques are usually designed for thicker foam, and I'm going to show you how to sculpt it a little bit. So I have 2 sets of scissors. One's a small blade, one's a longer blade. And when I'm making longer cuts in foam, I like a longer blade scissor. So let's say, I don't know, I'm going to make a hopper body out of this. I'm going to cut a body out of this 6mm, depending on the size of fly I'm doing, but I usually like to go about right there. Now you can see that this put a nasty curve in it. That's fine, we can work with that. And I didn't cut it very straight, but we can work with that. Let's just say we're going to make a hopper body out of this right here. All right. So we've got ourselves a rectangle of foam farmed out, and the first thing I like to do is shape up the back end. So let's say that this is the front and this is the back. So hoppers taper down a little bit on the back, and under the belly as well, it's going to need to taper this way. So we're going to make some cuts like this, and we're going to make some cuts like this. Alright, so the first thing I like to do is, this is going to be the belly of the hopper, and let's say that the head starts here and this is about where the body starts. I'm going to put my scissors here, and I like these Renomeds because they don't have any serrations. And I'm going to make kind of an angled cut backward. So as you can see, it kind of angles slightly backward, and I'll match that cut on this side as best I can, a little thicker as it gets toward the back. So if you look now, I kind of have a half moon shaped piece of foam. All right, so that's not going to be enough, so I'm going to do a cut on the top now. Okay, and if you're not getting enough foam, you kind of have to squish it in there a little bit and make more cuts. So it's not going to look very good at all for a second. So see how this isn't very even. I have a big knob right there. I can just come back a little bit further and just shave that one down. So once I have it here, I'm going to just kind of go around it and trim it up a little bit more. Let's say that I want to come in a little bit further on the back of the fly. And it's okay if it's just a really rough cut like that. So as you can see, I've tried to shape it narrow this way, and from the bottom that way. Anyway, so it's close enough to where I want it. Now I'm just going to come in here and remove any of these hard edges, just a little tiny bit. We'll do that top, bottom, and in front. And you want to have really sharp scissors to do this. It can be a real pain in the butt if you don't. And then to finish it off, we'll clean up his head a little bit. Alright, so there we have a pretty rough shaped out hopper. So what we're going to do now is take a lighter and we're just going to warm this up a little bit. And what happens is you can actually take this now and roll it in your fingers and shape it. So that the back half's looking pretty dang good, and then we'll just kind of come in here and warm up the front half and make sure that it's nice and spicy. This is actually the body that I use for the project hopper. But anyway, that's just a real quick and easy way to make a tapered body out of a piece of foam. Once you get some compressive thread wraps on this, it's going to look amazing, and any of these little imperfections in the body won't show. Anyway, that's one way I like to create a hopper body. So for the next style, you know, here I've got this is just the hopper caddis ant cutter, and I have one of these presses right here because I'm a pansy, and as I get old and my wrist arthritis flares up, you gotta use tools. So just take this, throw that in here. We will turn that away. What I've learned is don't poke all the way through. Alright, so pull that out, and here you can see I've got a really nice cut body. So I'll just finish this up. That's another hack. If you need a longer body with the hopper caddis ant because it's open, just put it a little bit further back. Alright, so here's my hopper body I'm going to mess with this time. Same idea. I'm just going to chop it to length, and on this one I can start here and just round it back, which looks way cool, and it makes it a little bit easier because the top and bottom are already tapered. So again, there I already have that tapered shape. I'm ready to burn it, singe it, I'm good. Same thing can be done with these, like a stonefly body. So this is a really cool stonefly body. I'm just going to throw this in here now. Press that down, pull that out, and this has a little tab you can just cut out. So yeah, so again on this one we have some ridges here, so I'm just going to find the side that I want to trim up, and again make a little bit of an angled cut up, and you can add a little bit more realism. Sometimes, you know, if you're fishing to educated fish, the more detail the better. So anyway, like I said it a bunch of times, you might as well tie good flies. It takes just as long to tie a good fly as it takes to tie a bad one. Well, actually, maybe not. I bet there's some real crappy flies out there, Brig, that are pretty easy to tie.